This is Jack Moelmann, and today is the 5th of July, 2013. We're in Marrietta, Georgia at the Strand Theatre as part of the 2013 Annual Convention, centered around Atlanta, Georgia, but we ventured off for concerts here at the beautiful Strand Theatre. And with us is a real personality, been around ATOS since it almost started, Tim Needler, who hails from Indianapolis, Indiana. And welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Jack.
Just as a way of background, because you're a performer, I don't know whether you maintain the organs or not, but have headed up conventions and that sort of thing. When did you first get interested in music?
Well, I got interested in music, picking out tunes on my mother's piano at the age of 4, and then taking piano lessons from 5 on. And when I was 10, I had an aunt who was the organist at the Catholic church that we attended, and I used to enjoy watching Aunt Millie play the organ at the way out of Mass. And of course she had a lot of power and sound at her disposal, which impressed a little kid like me. But that was my first introduction to an organ. Then later, I found out about the American Theatre Organ Society and joined in 1966.
And you've been on the board of directors and done almost everything, haven't
Well,
you?
I've been on the board. I think that started in the early 80s. I served some terms there. I was the national secretary for a term or so. And then I got very active at the Central Indiana chapter, trying to build it up and its membership and trying to increase the organs in our area. And we have done that, I think, fairly successfully. I believe we're either the number 1 or number 2 chapter in terms of membership. Of course, we have a number of members who don't live in Indiana. They enjoy the camaraderie, they enjoy our newsletter, so we keep our dues very low. We keep our dues at $18 a year, and we're able to do that because we have a lot of wonderful supporters. We have a tiered membership category, which we started, I think, well in advance of nationals doing that. So that we have memberships at the basic $18. We also have them at $25, $50, $100, $250, $500, and even $1,000. And last year we collected enough money that about 180 memberships, which of course involves spouses, children, significant others. We total about 300 and some members, if you will. We are at about $49 a membership in terms of what they're actually contributing on an average basis.
Well, I know I'm a member and I live hundreds of miles away.
And you're a generous member because, as I recall, you usually throw in about $100 every year. So you're one of the $100 level people. And so people like you who are keeping our dues at $18, our thinking is, if we were to raise those dues from 18 to 25, we'd lose some people. Because obviously we have people who are on retired fixed incomes, and maybe ATOS isn't as important to them as their church or their family or whatever. So if you go from 18 to 25 even, you're going to lose some. But because of the generosity of our members and our friends, we are able to keep those dues and have done that for many years. And we're going to continue to do that. But we have a very good newsletter. I think we came in first last year in the newsletter competition. Mark Herman, who is a young organist that most people know about who are involved with theater organ. Mark Herman is our editor, and he's very creative. So we have a fun newsletter that he edits, and so that helps our membership too, I think.
Yeah, I just thought of a subject, and that's the endowment fund, which ATOS has, and I think Central Indiana has benefited quite a bit from the endowment fund.
Well, the endowment fund has been very helpful to us as the various organ projects. But the most money that we've been able to get our hands on is because we have chaired or funded or presented annual conventions to ATOS. And our annual conventions, we're going to do number 6 next year. But we started in 1984. And we did 1984, 1990, 1997, 2001, 2008, and now we're going to be doing 2014. And with some good fortune and some support from our members who come to our Indianapolis area for these conventions, we have been able to raise a number of thousands of dollars And we have taken that money and we have put that money into putting more theater organs in the area. Either restoring what's there, which we've done. We purchased an organ that was in place. We purchased that through funds that were raised through one of our conventions. We have installed organs and funded them through the convention profits. So that is how we have grown, and not just the endowment fund, which has been a help, but also from other endowment funds. The Lilly Endowment Fund, for instance, in Indianapolis, is one of the larger endowment funds in the world, and they have been very supportive. The Indianapolis Foundation, the Indianapolis Star Foundation, we have a number of foundations that have been very, very helpful to us. So we work hard, but we don't ask for much, but we are trying to get the job done. And our biggest problem is getting the word out. We have concerts that we underwrite. We never make any money at our concerts, but we are happy to put them on. And because we have a surplus of dues coming in, we can underwrite them. But it's difficult to get the word out to people that we have this marvelous instrument and whatever the facility is. And we have top-notch artists that we bring in from around the world. And they do great concerts, but we have maybe 100, 150, 200 people. So it's kind of frustrating when you're sitting in an 1,800-seat house and you've got 250 people listening to a top artist, and you think it's too bad there aren't 1,800 people here.
Let's get back to the convention thing
Yes,
just briefly. Now, you were the convention planning coordinator for quite a few years.
About 15 years, yeah, from about 1985 through whatever that would be, 2000.
And I was there in '85 when we put together, I think, one of the first handbooks on running a convention.
Right, yes, that's still being used today. It's been updated, of course, but that's been the Bible, so to speak.
What would you tell an aspiring chapter that may be looking at this, or people that may be looking at this, about getting involved and thinking about running a convention, and how simple it might be to run one, or how complicated?
It is pretty simple. What you do, of course, is you have to figure out what are your organs that you can present. I would say to a chapter that has 1 or 2 organs, that's a little more difficult than one that has 3 or 4, or has an area surrounding that they can visit and have additional organs outside of their territory. That's been done before. But it's not a difficult process. You need some people, and they say, well, how big a chapter do you need? Well, we've had chapters of 25 and 30 people putting on a convention. And it can be done with a small chapter, as long as people are willing to pitch in. They're going to be willing to help run the buses and to help staff the needs of getting people in and out of facilities. It's not that big a deal. And the handbook is a very big help because it gives you the rules, things that you need to observe, and that's a lot of what it is.
And now we have Mike Knurk, who took over from you, I believe.
He's done a tremendous job, yes.
So there is help available.
Oh, my gosh, yes, lots of help. So chapters really, that's how they make their money, is the chapters, because ATOS is very generous. It used to be it was a 50-50 split. The chapters would do the work for the convention. The ATOS would publicize it, which is a very important component of any convention. You have to get the word out to people that there is a convention, podunk, whatever. But the ATOS does that. And in the old days, up until not too many years ago, it was a 50-50 split of profits. But now the ATOS has said chapters get 60%, and they take 40%. So there's more money for the chapters. So I think it's a very good thing for chapters to do. Our chapter has grown because of that.
I mentioned in the interview we just did with Ken Double dealing with conventions, which is probably another chapter of what we're doing right now. For those listening to this, the biggest profit we ever had from a convention was in San Francisco, and I don't remember what year, but ATOS's share and the chapter share was about $42,000.
I believe that year was 1991. And that was a very, very fine convention. And we attracted, 1,100 people, I think.
11, I don't remember Chicago was the big one.
That was
70 something.
Yeah, but that was around the same figure, not quite as high, but I think San
But money is to be made, and if you don't do it right, there's money to be lost too. So.
Well, we have had a few chapters or a few conventions that have just barely broken even, and we've had very few that have been outright losses. But yes, there have been a few. But If they're properly promoted and if you have the decent instruments and if you get the very best of the artists, because our members know who are the good artists and they know who are the ones who are not so good. So you strive to get the very best that you can present.
And we have the happy campers that have been coming year after year after year, and it doesn't matter whether it rains or pours, they're going to enjoy it.
Which we couldn't survive without those people, the very, very, very fine supporters that are there regardless, and that's a very important component.
Well, we thank you, Tim, for being part of this
My
and
pleasure.
for all that you do and all that you have done and all that you're going to do.
We're going to continue with the endowment fund. That's what I'm involved with now, as you know. So that's something that it keeps growing, and we appreciate the contributions that we get from people and the bequests that come in to make it bigger. So there's a lot of work ahead, but it's fun doing it.
And you just retired as the vice chairman of the board of directors. So.
Right. I believe in new blood, and I served 3 years as a board member, and I think it's time for new people to get involved. So I'm very happy to step aside and let them happen.
So we'll close this down. This is Jack Moelmann here in Marietta, Georgia at the Strand Theatre, July 5th, 2013, just a day after the 4th of July, which was quite a day for ATOS. And this is the ATOS 2013 convention. And next year we look forward to coming to Indianapolis.
And I look forward to having you all come, because we're going to have one heck of a good time, and it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of good music.
Are we taking the riverboat this time?
We are taking the riverboat. We're going to have a river cruise, and that'll be for the afterglow, which we're now calling the encore. But we'll see some new organs that nobody's ever seen in Indianapolis before, since the last convention in 2008. So we've got a lot to show that's new and different and exciting.
The highlight of the river cruises, I always found a way of getting the guy to crank up the calliope. And one time it burned out every circuit in the boat. Anyway, thanks, Tim.
You're welcome, Jack. Thank you.